Hello, everybody. I am Simona Mainini with Feng Shui for Architecture. We are a consulting firm and a training center that specializes in the application of Feng Shui to architecture, interior design, interior decorating, and landscape design. We offer our classes online, and you're certainly welcome to check them out. I'm going to leave the information here below. Today, I would like to share with you a few thoughts about Feng Shui in interior design and the difference between Feng Shui for interior design and Feng Shui for architecture. So if you just give me a second, I'm going to show you the cover of the video and I'll be right back. And I'm back. So first of all, the application of Feng Shui to architecture, interior design, interior decorating, landscape, it's a division that we have invented in the Western world. Actually, this division in discipline, architecture, interior design, decorating, and landscape, are a division that we have created in the Western world. In the old days, they would create a building and they would put, natural environment around it. It usually was done by the same people. There wasn't such a division. And so naturally, if you are a Feng Shui consultant, you would analyze the property and you will look at all these aspects. It is a little bit easier, or is a little bit harder, I should say, to divide Feng Shui for one thing versus the other, because of the basic concept, the basic chi mechanics. Basically, in Feng Shui, you want to see how the chi moves around the environment, how it is supporting the building, how it is supporting the occupant. So Feng Shui is not concerned with the style of architecture of the building. It is concerned with the well-being of the occupant, their comfort, their well-being, their ability of manifesting their potential. The ability of manifesting one's potential is destiny. Very pragmatic. Old Chinese philosophy was very pragmatic. You want to achieve your own potential, that's your destiny. You want to know what your destiny is, go and achieve your best potential that you're given by nature. And so the idea is that if you are in the best possible living condition, then you will also be able to manifest this potential. And this is what's behind Feng Shui. It's not about create pretty architecture. Sorry, it's not about being published on a magazine. Is really about the well-being of your clients. And this is pretty easy if you have already learned Feng Shui, or you already learn architecture, or you have already learned interior decorating or interior design. This is just the natural extra step. A lot of our students were, very excited about learning Feng Shui because they told me that it took the guessing equation out of planning, and it makes their profession a lot more easy. So let's see what do we mean by Feng Shui for architecture. Let's take, for example, a house. How would you design a Feng Shui house? So let's start with the architectural part. This has to do with the 3D space of the house, the layout of the space, the layout of the room, the position of the stairs, the height of the ceiling, the levels of the floors, the position of the doors and the window. Pretty much these are structural, and really it should be done when you are at the development phase of a project, whether you're building the project from scratch or you are doing a renovation. It really is a matter of budget. So if you're already investing a certain amount of budget to do these things, might as well you also use Feng Shui in doing that. It becomes really not expensive at all to do it that way. Also, let's see, When we are doing the interior design or the interior decorating, if you're doing interior architecture, is slightly different, is maybe a little bit closer to regular architecture, because you might need to move walls and doors and things like that, and you can do it at the level. But if you're strictly doing traditional interior designing or an interior decorating, that generally is referring to something where you're not doing anything structural. So you're not punching new doors, you're not moving windows. There is also misunderstanding when we talk about interior decorating. Interior decorating does not mean packing the house with knickknacks, feng shui knickknacks. So there is this idea that feng shui decorating means hanging chimes or hanging weird stuff, mirrors and stuff like that. That stuff is not real feng shui. Feng shui is something that needs to incorporate with the design. So when we use the term feng shui interior design or the term interior decorating, we are actually meaning the layout of the furniture, the choice of materials that we use, our finishing materials for the floors, the colors for the walls. And this is not in structural. So it's easier to do as a lesser budget, can be done at any time. There are no contractor involved usually. So in most cases, you don't need construction permits. So what constitutes a feng shui interior design? A feng shui interior design would focus, for example, let's talk about the application to the feng shui kitchen. For the feng shui kitchen, you would look at things like the layout of the kitchen per se. The traditional feng shui was very much focused on the position of water and fire and not conflict between the two. Water and fire would mean fire is the stove or the oven or both, or multiple ovens in modern kitchens. The water position is related to the sink, the dishwasher, even the refrigerator for some reason. These are concepts that come from the old days, but in the old days the kitchen were different. You would have stoves with multiple fire, open fire, running almost all day long, and a water well in the kitchen. So the two having to be separate had a certain logic. This day and age, the fact that everything comes out of a pipe, you don't need to go to such extent. So that application becomes a little bit obsolete. One thing that did not become obsolete at all is actually the position of the stove, the position where you cook the food, even more so than a position where you would prepare the food. Like if you are preparing a salad, is not as important as a stove where maybe you're cooking a meal, because the chemistry of the ingredient with the fire and the mixing of the ingredient actually capture from the surrounding chi, the surrounding air, the chi that is in that position of the stove, and that affects the meal that you're preparing. And so when you eat and you ingest the food that you have prepared, that goes straight into your body. And that is the fastest way, along with breathing, of bringing the chi inside the body. And so that has a tremendous effect. So the position of the stove should be related to the energy of the building, and even more so the energy of the occupants. And sometimes that is easier to figure out than in other cases, because the feng shui, the energy of the occupants, each of us as a different energy based on our year of birth, and we relate differently with the 8 directions. So some directions are great for me. Some of them might still be okay for my husband, or some of them might not be okay for my children. And so, you know, it's sometimes a matter of compromising. Maybe the microwave, we put it in the direction of who uses it most. The stove, maybe we put it in a different position, and the oven maybe in another position, so that everybody can catch a little bit from everything. And admittedly, this become a little bit of a feng shui challenge, but this is what feng shui interior design is about. Is slightly different than regular interior design, is more feng shui based. So the classes that we teach are, you know, in feng shui-based interior design, feng shui-based architectural design, feng shui-based landscape design. We give them that extra something. And if you are an interior designer or an architect or a landscape designer, this can be actually quite useful for you for that very purpose. So another room, for example, that we discuss extensively, in addition to the kitchen, we discuss extensively in our classes are the feng shui bedroom, because the bedroom is the place where we spend at least 8 hours basically in the same position, if we're lucky. So it is the room of the house where we interact for the longest with the energy. There is no other room, not even at work, we're sitting in the same place for 8 straight hours. So the bedroom has a tremendous effect on our well-being, on our success, and our ability of achieving our full potential, because of the amount of time that we spend there. So the layout of the bedroom should be comfortable, should be designed to promote good sleep. So the positioning of the door and the windows should be very carefully considered upon designing the room. So not just when you're trying to fit the bed somewhere. The entire room should be designed already from scratch with feng shui in mind for that very purpose. And also, of course, the position of the bed, the orientation of the bed. And we go back to what we were discussing earlier about the direction that are best for each occupant. You know, for one person based on one date of birth, their date of birth, their bed direction should be north, or should be south, or maybe it should be southwest or northeast. Of course, the problem happens when you have one person, like let's say myself, for whom one direction is preferable, and then my husband, for which a different direction is preferable. Or the children is easier because they sleep in different bedrooms, they have different beds, so it's easier to manage the orientation of their bed. But when a couple sleeps in the same bed, how do we pick this direction? So we learn that as well in our classes. And not to mention the choice of colors. The choice of colors for the entire house, the feng shui colors for the entire house, are also related to our own trigram, our own energy of birth, and the way we relate our energy to the energy of the house. You know, in some cases, my house can be in perfect harmony with myself. So the colors and the material are the same. It's really easy to decorate with the color that are best for me, are the best for the house as well. But what happens if one member of the family is an element that is in contrast with the house? Maybe the energy of the house is detrimental to that member of the family. So how can we choose the color and the material to harmonize the energy of the person with the house, so that the energy of the house supports the person as much as possible? That's one thing. That's a big part of what we teach is how to harmonize, how to use the color and material to harmonize the energy of the building with the people. One of the things is the feng shui for the bathroom. Feng shui for the bathroom, there are so many myths about the feng shui for the bathroom. First of all, the traditional feng shui was developed a long time ago, before the inventions of modern water toilet. So there are certain rules that pertains the feng shui for the bathrooms. They're no longer valid today because we don't have the problems that we used to have with the old bathrooms. Where pretty much the old bathrooms were literally better built outside of the house than inside the house. This day and age, we can build them inside the house because flashing toilets, vents, and all those kind of things. So we don't have a lot of the problem that the old bathroom were presenting. They don't apply any longer. And a lot of people, I still have a lot of people that call me with all sorts of questions about their bathrooms, and then they find out that there are really problems anymore. And last thing I wanted to share with you is about the feng shui door. I wrote before in my article about the money door. The money door is not a given at all. The feng shui door, first of all, any door that you go from the exterior to the interior automatically end up being a feng shui door, because is the way through which you bring the majority of the qi from the external environment in the internal environment. So those are also very important when we talk about landscape design, where you bring the qi in and how to funnel the qi from the landscape into the door. But specifically, the door needs to be placed in a position where it's supportive, based again on the direction that are more favorable for the occupants, the direction that allows to bring in the best qi for the house to support the occupants. So these are not just given. Sometimes, when you have houses that are already designed in a certain way, you can't really take a door down and open another one without punching a wall. So this one perhaps goes slightly beyond the scope of interior design. But we can still design a nice foyer around an existing door. So we can bring in as much qi as possible. We can still address the color and material surrounding the entrance, so we can enhance the energy as much as possible. And then if we have a money door, if we're feng shui architecture, we can open a money door. If we are not opening a new door, then we can see how best we can enhance that entrance. Modern houses also have more than one entrance. Maybe there's an entrance from the backyard or an entrance from the garage. We can evaluate which one of them has a better money potential, for example, and then we can address that consequently. So there are things that we can do pretty much at any stage of a house, whether it's under design and development, is already being built, is being renovated, is just gonna, being refurbished. We can apply feng shui at any level. It really depends how much budget you have, how much we wanted to change, but there is something that we can do at every level, pretty much. So again, if you are a professional or just a feng shui enthusiast, I really invite you to take our classes, especially our feng shui certificate classes, because I like to go a lot more in detail. I only teach professional grade feng shui, whether you're using it just for your own house, or you're a professional, or perhaps you're looking at changing your career and becoming a feng shui consultant. Our classes are absolutely the most comprehensive that you can find around, because we do address all of these aspects, both feng shui for architecture, for interior design, decorating, and landscape. So you can find a lot of your answer there. And the level 1 Feng Shui certificate program comprises of 4 courses. There are 3 courses of theory. We do a little bit of exercise and assignment there. And there are 3 courses on the theory, and the 4th course is practice. And by the time you finish that program, you already have a working knowledge of Feng Shui. So you can start applying it to your current profession. You can start consulting for other people. You will have a professional grade understanding of this discipline. And then if you really like Feng Shui, you want to learn some more, we have another program, level 2, which is a professional Feng Shui consultant program. Those are also 4 classes. We address additional information. We go more in details. We add more information to what you already learned in level 1. And then we have Feng Shui Mastery course. And a Feng Shui Mastery course is also 4 courses. They are much more advanced, and so we recommend that you practice actively, consult actively on several different buildings that will help you to make the most out of that program. So these are 3 certificates that we offer, and it all starts with level 1. And our level 1, all our levels, but our level 1, beginning 1, that's where you start, beginning 1, Feng Shui Beginning 1 course. It's offered both as live webinar and as a video self-study. And I'm gonna include the description, the link to the description in the box here below and at the end of this video. So you can go and read the descriptions, see what we teach, check out our registration form and see if these courses are what you're looking for. And I'm really confident that they are. And I'm really looking forward to see you in our classes. And let's make this world a better Feng Shui world. And I'm looking forward to see you then. Take care.